Avoid this #1 rookie tax deed investing mistake. This is a major warning to anybody who's looking to make some money with tax deed investing, because tax deed investing can be a great way to scoop up some properties, maybe for 80, 90% below market value. We love tax deed investing because it wipes out the mortgage, because it's the priority lien. However, there is one major mistake that can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in today's video, we're going to show you how to avoid that mistake and how to do this properly, because this one mistake can really be devastating. So we want you to thrive and not dive. So in order to thrive here right now, we're going to bring in the dream team. Here we go. Bringing them in live via the internet fibers. Mr. Jason, Mr. Josh Blanchard, Corey in his lovely shirt.
We're back
in the den, the guitar den. How often do you play that guitar these days?
No.
Good times. Great. Well, let's get into it without further ado. So we're going to start this off with a tragic story of somebody who got themselves in way over their heads. And who talked to them? Was it you, Corey, or Josh? Who had the conversation?
I think Josh. Well, I had one, but I think Josh had the more of them. Yeah,
let's do the tragic story, extract the lessons, and then we'll share with you the other mistakes people make. So Josh, if you could tell them the terrible tale of the tax deed fatal mistake that was made.
All right. Yeah, I was chatting with a student and they wanted to have me look over a recently purchased property. And so we were looking through the numbers and they told me how much they bought it for. And I'm looking at the ARV and I'm thinking, okay, this looks really good. This looks like a really good
deal. We need to clarify one thing. They bought this before they became a student.
That's right.
They bought this and then came to us because they had the problem. So we need to clarify that.
Very good clarification.
Yeah. So we're chatting about it for a while and looking through, and this is in Florida. And so after we start getting deeper into the property, and the numbers on this, maybe it's like 330. I think it's what this condo is worth. 330 more or less, and they're into it for about 120. But it looks like it could be in pretty good shape. So we're working the numbers and it's feeling pretty good. And we get deeper into the conversation, and then they say that it's a HOA sale. And I was like, whoa. Wait a second. Okay. So it's an HOA sale, but is there a mortgage on the property? And they said, I don't know. And I was like, because nothing's going to get wiped, right? And so we chatted for a while. And then I did the title search on the property, and we saw that there was about a $220,000 mortgage left, more or less, on the property. And so it took a while, but finally, they understood clearly that they're into it for the 120 plus the 220 and the rehab.
Wow.
And so you're really underwater at that point. And $120,000, that's a large chunk of change to spend on a property. And so nothing gets wiped. And so we're always wanting to be really careful about that, making sure that we know who is suing the homeowner, whether is it a specific lien holder, is it the county for the back taxes, is it the HOA, is it something else that's going on? But really sad because that could have been avoided, because if you subtract $220,000 off of your max bid, that's going to get you much lower than $120,000. But yeah, we've seen that a couple of times. It's a pretty common thread because these things are disguised in with other tax deed sales. But those were the numbers, and it was very stressful because now you're just simply fighting to mitigate your losses.
Yeah. So one of the things Josh said, I think it was on the last live stream, was a really good statement. And he says, just because it's at the tax sale doesn't mean it's a tax sale property. And I thought that was just a great way to put it. And like, for example, in Texas or in Florida, certain places, the property is being sold at the tax deed sale. However, basically the homeowner associations are using the mechanism in place of the sheriff to auction the property to recoup their homeowner association fees. Now, there can be good deals in there, but you have to know what you're doing. So one of the big mistakes rookies make is they think they're at the tax sale, but they're bidding on a homeowner association property and they lose their butt. Like we've seen that a few times. And for anybody just tuning in, it's Dustin Hahn here, Cord Chase on, Josh Blanchard. And our channel is dedicated to helping people get started with tax deed investing, avoid the mistakes so that you can make money in this business and in this game. And, we've been doing this stuff for a long time. We try to create valuable content to help everybody do that. And as our way of saying thanks for tuning in, we always give away the ABCs of tax lien and deed investing with the National Tax Deed Directories to help you get started and find some deals. So if the person we mentioned would have just went through the checklist in the book, they would have avoided that. So all of that's for free in the description below. If you want to grab a copy, if you're tuning in live or in the comments, go ahead, ask us a question. This is a great time to get some questions answered on your tax lien and deed investing journey. So Corey, maybe you could share another horror story of somebody who violated the due diligence process.
Yeah, well, actually, I thought that you were going to talk about another one. This means we've had at least 2 students. This would have been a couple of years ago now, and this person signed up with us, and I was doing customer support at the time, and this person had bought a property in Texas, HOA, and I think Josh, I believe you talked to this person as well. But yeah, I think they had paid a bunch of money for it, and they were really upset, obviously, about that. And I think they may have been upset with us because we couldn't help them.
Well, they came to us after. So
yeah, exactly.
People will like go and then get themselves, they won't learn a thing. They won't get the book. They won't read it. They'll just go and they'll buy something. And then they'll come to us and be like, how do I need to fix this? And it's like, well, no, like you already have the cancer.
Yeah.
This started a long time ago. But then we do help as much as we can, but we can't undo a previous decision that was made, before. It's like blaming your new wife for the actions of your ex-wife.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to you, Corey.
No, I mean, there's not much to say. Like, we obviously do our best to help all of our students to the best of our abilities, but there's like Dustin said, there's some things you just can't undo it. And so I know Josh worked with this person a decent amount on that, but it just goes to show you that, so I should say, I love people that are just like go-getters, because those people get stuff done. And I'm a researcher myself, so I'll take my time with things. And so there is like a balance between being a go-getter and just pulling the trigger on something, but also having enough education to know, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're oblivious to the errors and the things that can go wrong. And that's what we see a lot with people who buy these properties, especially HOA ones. They just don't know. It's a very, like, we talk about it all the time. So it's like, if you're watching our live streams, you've probably heard it like pretty much every call. But yeah, I appreciate the people who take action, but also there's a good balance where, like, if you can get some data under your belt, get some knowledge under your belt as well, it'll really help you make informed decisions, so you don't wind up with a property that you just can't sell and you're $100,000, $200,000 in the hole. So
yeah,
or $10,000 in the hole. And that doesn't matter which one. But
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And the beauty of tax deed investing is it wipes out the mortgage when you buy at a tax sale. So you need to be, very diligent on figuring out, are there any liens or what type of property is going up for sale at this upcoming tax sale, because many of them could be HOA sales. So it looks like we've got a few folks tuning in. Welcome to the video here. Someone is saying the market is highly saturated. Well, yeah, this is a great comment because it depends where you are, right? So there's 3,300 counties out there. Some of them, you're right, will be highly saturated. If you're in a big place like Miami or San Francisco or Austin, those are going to be very saturated markets. But the cool thing is there's 1,500 tax deed counties. There's 1,500 tax lien counties as well. So one of the biggest advantages is going out to some of the smaller areas and finding some really good deals out there that you can scoop up. So that's kind of the big mistake that we talk about a lot that is made is, people go to one sale and then judge the entire industry off of one sale, right? And, I always give analogies. It's basically like going on a date with somebody you don't get along with. And it's be like, I don't date because I don't get along with anybody, right? So, if we had that approach. But that being said, in the tax lien and deed game, everybody's on their own timeline. And I've mentioned this before. Some of you guys might get a deal today. You might get an over-the-counter property here today. Some of you might have to go to more sales. It just depends. But the big thing is sticking with it. Like, for example, I mentioned, I went to a tax deed seminar, and then 3 days later, I bought my first property at my very first auction, which is really what got me hooked. So, does that happen to everybody? No. Can it? Yeah. And that's what's fun about it. And the big thing is if you stick with it, deals will happen. So we appreciate that. Let's see. How do I meet with you in person at the Texas auction? When is the next one? Josh, when is the next one? I will have one coming up here in the future, but Josh, when is the next one, and how do they
June 3rd. June 3rd. We've got a QR code that you can scan if you wanted to come on to a trip and see the whole process.
Nice. And there's a link below in the description. You can go book a free call and we can see if it's a fit. If you want to come join us at one of these auctions, that link is always below in the description, right next to the book. So you can get that for free and book a call. And, like we say, what is our agenda here? We happen to, we never set out to be YouTubers. Somebody one day said, you guys should make a YouTube video. And we did, and we just kind of left it for years. And then it kind of picked up. And so now we make content. Our goal is to provide you with as much value as possible through these videos, through these trainings. And from there, if you want some one-on-one help, we always offer the opportunity to come join us at an auction, or you can book a call and we can do one-on-one and show you exactly where to go and find deals if you want. So that is there as well. And we also end up teaming up with a lot of people who tune in. So it is a great win-win as well. And let's see, we've got a question here. If you have a question, guys, go ahead, put it in the comment section or in the question box. We'll be happy to get you here. So does a sheriff sale wipe out the mortgage? And yeah, that would be a tax deed sale. So, most of the time the mortgage is wiped out, which is part of the research. Josh, can you elaborate on that one a bit?
Yeah, too. It depends if the sheriff sale is a mortgage foreclosure. In which case, yeah, it gets wiped out, or if it's a tax sale. Generally, a sheriff sale will either mean one of those two things. But so yeah, in most cases, it will wipe it out. But it's always best to just double check the rules to verify for yourself.
Excellent. Phil is saying, when I buy a tax lien, do I need insurance even though you don't own the deed? Yes. So with a tax lien, you wouldn't put property insurance on it because you don't own it. With a tax deed, immediately after buying it, you put property insurance on that property so that your principal is protected, is the way that works. Let's see, Josh, looks like you have something for Sharon here.
Oh, yeah. I was going to just show our max bid sheet from March 2025, a couple months back. And this is for Harris County. And just a really great way how you can compensate for a mortgage on a property. If I can throw my screen up there.
So check it out. We're going to show.
I'll show you how to check a mortgage for free as well. You don't need any paid services to do this. So here is our max bid sheet for March 2025. And this is pretty solid. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, this is some secret sauce right there. But we've got tax sale HOAs. So it's not that we're not bidding on HOAs. We just have to be really careful. And so this particular property, 20427 Wildberry Drive in Katy, Texas, we came up with an ARV of $320,000, 50 grand for rehab. Now, since it is HOA, nothing's going to get wiped from the tax sale. So we've got to go ahead and check the mortgage. We got to check for liens. But this HOA property actually had no mortgage. And I'll show you how I did that. Just take that property address. I'm going to throw it into PropWire. Remember, PropWire is free, so everybody can get access to this website. And you can see here, absentee owner, cash buyer, free and clear, high equity. So there's no mortgage. If there was a mortgage, it would show up here. And of course, we do a title search just to be sure and to double check it. But this is an example of a really, really good HOA deal because there's no lender on the property. Now here we've got another HOA one. Tawacom has got $101,000 more or less. So we simply have to take that off of our max bid. So it's got an ARV of 228. We got a mortgage of 101. So we could only pick it up for $18,891. So even though it's a $228,000 house, we can't go past 18.5 grand, or we're going to be underwater because of the mortgage. So it's not that you can't bid on these things. It's just that you have to take it into consideration, what the balance is on the mortgage. And the last thing I would say about that is you want to be careful and see who the lender is. And so, for instance, if it's a private lender and maybe they're a bit, it's an unfair situation. Maybe they're doing rent to own and it's one individual, you're not dealing with a bank. That's someone who can make things very difficult for you after if you bought an HOA property. And so we're looking for big banks. We're looking for like FHA loans. Like a regular lender is what we're looking for. And we're staying away from what may be considered a predatory lender, because that's not the kind of person you want to deal with after for an HOA sale. But of course, the best kind is no mortgage. But yeah, hopefully you took a screenshot of that example. If not, you can always go back and watch the video again.
Nice. Yeah. And that's one of the things we recommend is, especially when we're doing our screen shares, to go back and you can watch it and follow along as well. So for anybody tuning in, we're talking about some tax deed mistakes. We're looking at some properties, looking at some lists, and being the one-stop shop for all of your tax lien and deed investing needs.
Nice. I have another mistake to help to add to the thing to avoid. Or
Nice.
Add to the, I don't even know how to finish that sentence, so we'll just stop it there. For those of you who are starting, and I don't have an example pulled up, but I know that we talked about this, I think even on the last live, you can go back or 2 lives ago. But when you're doing your research, don't trust the parcel. Don't trust the address that the county is going to give you as what you're actually going to be getting. So a lot of times you'll have an address and oh yeah, I had my little, I did a little sticky note thing where I'll do another one because it's so great. Let's say you have a sticky note. So this is 123 Main Street. Let's go Ohio, somewhere in Ohio. So this is the address 123 Main Street. And this is the address that you see on the county website. And so you go on, you think it's a 2-bed, 2-bath, 2,000 square feet, great house, $250,000. So you're going to go, you're like, oh yeah, it's worth 250,000. I'll bid 150,000, whatever your number is. But what you didn't realize is that also, and the starting bid's like $700. You're like, whoa, that's a crazy deal. But what you didn't realize is there's actually, this is on 123 Main Street, but also this is also 123 Main Street if you Google it. And what the county's actually auctioning off is a little tiny corner in the back. And you might be like, oh, I can pay up to $30,000 for that. And so you might pay $30,000 for this little sliver of land. And it's not actually the whole property. What you actually want is this. What you're actually getting is this. And so that's why it's always really important to check the parcel IDs or the case IDs. It's sometimes called different things. Josh, are there other common names for parcel IDs?
That's usually it.
Okay, yeah. It's usually parcel ID, and you can check the county map, the GIS map. And I think we have other videos, and we'll be releasing more videos on that. Actually, I'll be releasing some on that. And it's just important to check that. So to sum all that down, don't just trust the address that is put up on the county website. You want to do your research and look and see what the actual parcel lines for that parcel ID are to make sure you're actually encompassing the whole house and not just a little sliver in some random corner. And the same goes with land. You might think it's a nice plot of land. It could be like 4 acres of land. You're like, whoa, $700, but it's just like 4 acres and it's like 3,000 football fields. I don't know how big a football field is, but it's just one long, like basically 30 feet wide and 4 acres long. You could get that if you wanted to, but it's just going to be harder to sell that. It's good to know what you're buying and don't get into it. So that's my
Excellent
rookie mistake to avoid.
Good one. Let's see. Is there a page where we could see the Pennsylvania auction list? Josh, maybe we could show them that. I'll go through some of these questions.
The vault.
Good. For anybody tuning in, appreciate the comments. If you have any questions, go ahead, put them there. And once again, if you haven't got it yet, you got started. We have the Tax Lien and Deed directory below, totally free. And this is how you could literally start today. If you want to get deeds, you could just open it up and find the state that we're in, Tennessee. Boom. Tennessee, phone number, website, call them up. See, hey, what do you have left? When's the auction? Do you have over the counter? And then we have all of the steps in the book. It's totally free in the description below. So if you don't have that, that is literally your driver's manual to this sort of stuff. And from there, if you want to come join us at one of these auctions or get some one-on-one help, there is a link to book a free call as well. Appreciate the comment there. Let's see. When is the next live auction? And let's see here. Do you have a classroom for Philly? So we actually are, when is that? Coming up Monday, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're going to be attending the Philly auction here on Monday. So that's going to be super exciting. We're doing the due diligence right now. So if you guys watching want to join us at the Philly auction, it's a virtual auction. You attend from home. We're sitting, and it's a great time. So there's a link below in the description. You can also book a call and learn by doing at one of these auctions virtually. And let's see here. Josh is going to share his screen and show some Philly action that's coming up as well. So here we go.
Yeah, so if you go to vault.taxlienschool.com, what we've got is this interactive map here, and we've actually got an auction calendar for all 3,300 counties. And so there's tons and tons of content in here, lots of resources. We've got articles, information. And so if you come in, you could click on Pennsylvania, and we've got an auction calendar attached to it as well. So you can see what's upcoming and what's happening. This is going to be definitely the quickest way. Now, a lot of this is going to be free, but if you wanted to access the whole year's worth of calendars, that is a paid service of ours. Or what you could do is you could just simply go into Google and go county by county to get the auction dates in the links. But we do have everything compiled here. So go ahead and check out vault.taxlienschool.com, and we've got all the upcoming auction dates on this website.
Nice. Now, as far as getting into this game, let's ask a couple more or take a few more questions here. How do you find out what is the exact mortgage remaining on an execution sale? Well, that'd basically be the same as researching any other property, like Josh was just showing there on the prop wires, probably the simplest way. Hey, Josh?
Yeah, you have to take it with a grain of salt, though, because the way that the numbers work, it treats it as if the individual is making payments, regular payments. And so if we saw that the mortgage company, for instance, had filed a lis pendens, meaning that if they don't make some kind of correction, if they don't make their payments, then they would be foreclosed on, then we would assume that the amount is much higher and that they haven't been making their payments. And so sometimes the number is going to be accurate, but we're just trying to get within the ballpark for the most part. And if somebody has not been paying for a year or so, a lis pendens is going to show up. So we can't get the exact amount, but we can get pretty close as long as there's no lis pendens.
Nice. The question here is, I applied for the book. How do we know if we send it? So anybody below that gets the free book, it's going to show up in your inbox. You'll see that there within a few minutes. So you click the link and enter your name, your email, and the book will be emailed over to you. Very simple. If you don't see it there, you can always shoot us a message or give us a call. Let's see. Here we go. What is the membership access for the list? We're getting that set up. Come back in a couple days to that one, and then we'll have probably a very inexpensive option with like a month free, and then a Netflix type of thing will be there. Let's see. How do you know if it's an execution sale or a tax sale? Well, it will say in the documentation that you look at for the auction if it's a homeowner association going up or anything like that. Which leads me into the next kind of rookie mistake that we see at auctions is people don't actually go and look physically at the property. So when it's a tax deed auction, the most important thing is to have up-to-date, real-time, data on the property. So although it's very cool that we have, Google Streets and Trips, Google Streets to go, and we have Google Earth, a lot of the times that's not an updated picture. And we see it so often. We've seen people break down in tears because we go and drive to the property and it's like burnt to the ground or flooded or not even there. And somebody bids it up to like market value. And we're like, man, what are they doing? And we go talk to them and they're like, oh, it looked like a good deal on the picture online. And we're like, but this is the picture from yesterday. It's like burnt down. And then they break down and they cry and they try to get their money back, and it's too late. They made a mistake. So that's a big one to avoid. Is the book enough to start? Yeah. So anybody can go through the book. We have all of the steps laid out for you to get started in the business. Super straightforward. You know, this is your roadmap combined with these videos. You would look them up, you know, say you wanted to be in Michigan, get the phone number, ask the questions in the book. All that's free in the description. Like we say, we do our best here to try and just provide as much value. And if somebody wants to go to a next step, you can join us at an auction. You can book a free call, and we'd be happy to talk to you and see if that's a fit. So the big difference between us and everybody else is, you know, we used to sell this book. Now we just give it away for everybody there. Let's see. Is Wayne County a redeemable deed? Are those Texas counties? Don't remember. Oh, Josh is muted.
I muted you, Josh. 'Cause you got to mute on StreamYard.
Bottom left.
There we go. Yeah, you know what? There's 16 Wayne counties in the United States. So I'm not sure which one we're talking about.
Yeah, that's been a mistake made many times where we're looking up the county. Actually, that's a great rookie mistake, is make sure you're in the right county. You could be looking at Wayne County in the wrong state. Yep. So, you know, that's a good rookie.
Oh, Pennsylvania. Okay. No, so it should be one and done, more or less a tax deed sale. But be careful. There's two different kinds of sales there. You got a judicial and upset. And so one of them is not going to wipe anything out, and the next will wipe everything out. So two different kinds of sales. Just make sure you pay attention to the rules.
Nice. Are these streams regular? We are trying to regularly do them Tuesdays and Thursdays. That is the name of the game at 1 p.m.-ish Pacific. Here's a great question. Do you assist with the contractor if you want to fix and flip? We can assist you with rules and guidelines for working with contractors, but we will not assist you with a particular contractor. Is the name of the game. That is you know, for anybody getting into this, we recommend, you know, if you don't have expertise in doing rehabs and repairs, don't do them at first. You know, it's way better if you have a property that's worth $100,000 and you get it for $10,000 to do a quick flip and make 20 or 30 grand and let somebody else deal with the rest of it. The velocity of money is way more important to get quick results. You can roll that money over because if you're going to try to get all of the money, you're fixing it up to top a market. You're competing with, you know, everybody who's had their house and take impeccable care of it. You know, it's their pride and joy when you're there trying to make money. So let somebody else do that who has expertise. Let's see. Hey guys, live in Canada, looking into closing some deals. Yeah. So, you know, if you're in Canada, same thing. Look into online auctions is a great way to go into this. Let's see which zip codes in Chicago. Let's see. So you want to use areavibes.com to avoid the bad areas. So that's the big thing when it comes to zip codes. Okay. Josh, anything to comment there?
Yeah, I think that Area Vibes is the way to go, or Neighborhood Scout. It's going to be the most helpful, just to help you find out which ones are the best ones.
Yeah. And I would say we don't have specific zip codes to that would be some research you'd have to do to just like what they said. And data sources, there's a lot of data sources out there. I would say look at the tax lien deed list. I guess I think it's the lien list there, or just search for foreclosure sales in that area to start. Yeah.
Nice. Drift Away is asking, Corey, how does he get the book?
Oh, you just click the link below in the description, grab your free course. We'll send you, you put your name, your email in, phone number. We'll send you this digitally. It'll be in your email inbox in 1 to 7 minutes. Might be in your spam folder too, so you have to check that too. So
for anybody who tunes in regularly, rather than, you know, commercials for pharmaceuticals, we just kind of plug our own thing.
That's right.
It's free.
That's right.
And then if you want to book a call as well, if you want to come, there's an auction coming up in Philly we're going to. There's a Texas auction coming up. If you want to join one of those, you can schedule a free call and then come join us at an auction if it's a fit. So that is there in the description. Let's see. Can I get started with 10K? Absolutely. Some people get started with 50 or $100. So with 10K, you'll want to find some tax deed sales. And that's where this directory is really good, is you can literally just open it up to say any state, maybe you want to be in, where are we here? Alaska. Just get the phone number, call them up, go to the website, get the details, and you're off to the races. So that's in the description below. And like, I always have these on my desk. Like, the reason we're always talking about this is like, this is what we use for ourselves. It's like, oh, I want to call up a county. What's the number? Pull it up. Boom. And away we go. There's digital. You guys can print it out as well. Repository sale. Josh, you want to take that one?
Yeah, that's the and my mic's working now. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still working. Man, the microphone was actually coming through the MacBook speaker, which is why it was so loud with the typing. But good, we're back on this. Yeah, the repository sale is just the unsold parcels in Pennsylvania. So sometimes it's an opening bid. They'll accept $250, $500, $1,000, $2,000. So I mean, going back to, can I get started with 10K? Absolutely, you can get a whole bunch of stuff in Pennsylvania as little as $250. We have a student who purchased a mobile home for $250 and sold it for $15,000. So it's possible. This was only a few weeks ago, so it's about as recent as you can get.
Nice. What company or website to do a title search to avoid that mistake? So this is a tricky one, because if you're going to a tax deed sale, you need to make it worth your time. And, unless it's a county in your own backyard with very few properties, we'll look at sometimes 50 to 100 properties per sale. So if you're paying $20 or $50, that's a couple $1,000 in title research. So that's why it's important to just ask and learn how to do the title research in that specific county. Let's see. So looking for a property for your family. Yeah, the tax sale can be a spot to do that, especially if you're looking in the Philly area. So then if you're in that, get the list and then sort it by those zip codes, and you will be in good shape. Yeah, that is absolutely crazy as far as our student buying something for $250 and selling it for $15,000. And the wild thing about this business is you have those opportunities, right? Now, is that going to be every deal? Is it going to happen to everybody? I truly believe that if everybody sticks to it and, puts in a little bit of time, like an hour a day, 5 days a week, you will get deals. And on a long enough timeline, everybody that sticks to it gets some of these crazy, wild deals. In between, you might get a lot of really great deals to start, building your wealth with, and that's the name of the game. But what's fun is with this business, we see it every day, people getting, smoking deals. Even in one of the comments on the videos, a guy was like, I thought this was, I was skeptical. I thought it was a scam. But then I saw at the Florida sale, there was a $570,000 house sold for, I think it was like 50 grand. And we looked it up, So this stuff is definitely real and legit. So what website did he find that on? We can tell you the state, but we'll probably, so part of the thing with this business, right, is you want to find, we show you guys a lot of great areas, but we also like to let folks go and find their own little fishing hole, right, in the 1,500 counties, because maybe you show up and you're the only one there, right? So we'll share with you guys a bunch of places that we're going as well. But, that's the thing. When you get the directory, you could call one of these counties and, maybe you call them today. They have a list in Minnesota, and like, that's your spot, and that's what happened in this situation. So that's why we recommend you get started. So on that note, guys, great session. If you like this stuff, do us a favor, thumbs up, subscribe. You can share this video with anybody you think who might like it. That would be great. And, we know most people who watch aren't subscribed. So it's a good idea to subscribe, because that way you can go to these auctions and, have a great chance and be educated properly. So, on that note, check out some of our other videos. If you want some help, there's a link in the description. You can book a free call. We'll be happy to walk you through this step by step. We can take you by the hand. Heck, you can even come join us at an auction. We're going to Texas in a couple weeks. We got a live auction coming up in a couple days that you can join us on. So you can schedule a free call there. Maybe one last question here, Josh.
Yeah.
The mortgage is wiped out in case of a tax deed if the notifications were sent by the county to the mortgage company. How do you check if the mortgage company was properly notified? And that's always going to be through court records. If the county has that accessible, you'll be able to go in, search by case number, case ID, and open up the case file. You're going to make sure that everyone who has an interest in the property has been served, that they've been notified, that they've been given due process is what it's called.
Excellent. Good stuff. Yeah. So we're doing Texas and Philly. So we got 2 auctions coming up. Philly's going to be in a couple days, Texas in a couple weeks. So you can scan the QR code, do a free call, and come join us. We can help look at the list, narrow it down, and teach you by doing is one thing we pride ourselves on. So on that note, folks, thanks for tuning in. Check out some of the other videos. Thumbs up, subscribe, ask us some questions in the comments. We appreciate everybody coming on. We'll do our best to get you in the game. All right. See you soon.
See you, everybody.